And you're listening to Territory Grandstand with Charlie King. And we're going to take a close look at some of the work that men are doing. This is on the back of the call from the Prime Minister saying men need to do more to help deal with family violence, which is at such an all-time high and continuing to grow week after week, year after year. So we thought we'd talk to some of the men's groups and say, what is the group do? And joining us is a man by the name of Justin Dwyer. He's got a group that he runs called BetterMENt, which is very clever spelling, better, and then MENT on the end of it. Darwin men helping each other to lift our own game. And he joins me in the studio. Justin, hello.
G'day, Charlie. How are you?
Tell us about this group that you've got. It's a group of self-responsible men supporting each other. It's more than that, obviously. Where'd the idea come from?
Yeah, so this was born out of my struggle, basically. So I'll give you the backstory, is that I was my marriage was failing, and 5 years ago I was staring down dark hole. My marriage failing, and I was trying everything I thought I was doing to succeed. I had a good job, I'd bought a house, had the kids, the wife, all of that stuff, but I kind of felt dead inside and I was struggling. And at that point I realised, my wife actually came to me and said, we need to do something, and if we don't, we're going to end in divorce. And that's where I came from.
Wow.
I came from a divorced family, so that hit home for me with two little kids. So I went on a journey of trying to understand from that point on, who am I? What happened to me? Why do I behave the way I behave? Why do I interact with people the way I interact with them? And it took me down a big, long journey of soul searching and understanding who I really was.
Right.
And part of that was uncovering a whole lot of limited beliefs, negative patterns that I'd stored inside myself about myself.
Yeah.
And the healing journey of that was to uncover that. So BetterMENt came when I was enough down the track that I realised, okay, I feel empowered enough to share some of this stuff, but I still have a lot of shame. And I knew I needed to talk about it. So I actually started that group under my house about 18 months ago. And I invited some other guys to come along.
These would be close friends, I suppose?
They actually weren't. They were a couple of the dads from school and just people that I'd met, which I kind of knew that they would be receptive to it.
Yeah.
A couple of friends, but mostly they were people who are just kind of acquaintances through school or close enough that I knew that they would resonate with the message.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was 18 months ago. And at the same time, my wife and I had started a company, and we wanted to promote healthy relationships. That was our main focus, because that was our greatest struggle. So all of the learnings that we had, I knew that I had this message to share, and guys are not very good at talking, and I wasn't. I certainly struggled, but I knew that shame and guilt and all of these negative feelings thrive in the dark. We need to get them out, and we need to air them, but we can't just air them to anybody, because that actually triggers people when we air it.
Yeah.
We need to do it in a safe place. We need to do it in a place where people understand and you can feel the safety. So that's why I created that group, was for myself, so that I could actually voice for me what was going on, but also to help other guys and share the knowledge that I'd gained and I continue to gain to help others.
Right. And it grew from there. I mean, how many men did you get at the start, and how many men are involved with it now 18 months later?
So the first meeting, we had 4 people there, and that was the group. I didn't advertise it. I just, sort of said to those guys, look, if you want to bring anyone else, bring them along, that's fine. And it was like that for probably, 6 to 8 months. 5 or 6 people sort of on and off came. And then Charlie, one of the other guys in the group, he said, hey, look, I think, this would be great if we roll it out and try and get a few more people in, which I agreed with and said, we need, men need a forum to be able to talk. So we tried to expand it. We moved to another location and started to, I just put a few Facebook posts out and things like that. Marketing's not my strong point, but growing organically, and there are guys turning up now, which, is fantastic.
Just by word of mouth, are they coming?
Yeah, at the moment it's just been word of mouth. My wife and I have run a couple of workshops, and people from there have come along. I've offered it there, and guys from there have come along as well. So.
And what's the aim of the group? I mean, what are you aiming for them to get out of the sessions?
So the main aim is to take responsibility for the patterns that you have. That's the underlying message is that you are programmed by your past experiences.
Yeah.
A lot of that's unconscious, meaning that it's happened automatically. From the time we're 0 to 7, we're completely unconscious. We're awake and we're aware, but as babies, we just absorb everything in the first 7 years. And from that, we create a model of what we think the world is and who we are, what our value is and our worth is. So if you think back to your own childhood and what that was like, if it was stressful or tense or there was, violence or anything in the family, that's created your patterns. And then for the rest of our life, we now start to take those patterns and we reaffirm them over and over again that that's who we are. Right. So this this group is all about just starting to open up and have a look that, hey, you do have these patterns and these programs running with, where they produce feelings of anger or grief or whatever it is for you. And a lot of this happens in relationship. And it's all about taking self-responsibility. And that's difficult because when the feelings come up, they're incredibly overwhelming and they're powerful. And if we can't be in a supportive environment, we automatically want to push that away and we'll deflect from that. So
one of the things we've found in the years we've been working with men, the very clear message we've got over the years is men do not like to be seen as failures in the eyes of other men. This is something that they just can't really cope with. They can fail, but not in the eyes of other men. Have you found something in that area? Is there something like that comes out of the discussions you're having? Yeah,
absolutely, and that still happens for me. I had a trigger with my wife yesterday, which was that very thing that, we were having a discussion and I was trying to support her, but in that process, it didn't come across that I was being supportive. So the message that I got internally was that I'm somehow failing. I'm failing my wife. So that, I agree with you, that internal message and feeling of I'm failing. And I'm not sure if it's any stronger with guys or women, but definitely the feeling of a man failing triggers our ego and we defend ourselves against that. And that's a very quick automatic response.
Which makes us probably more angry than we have been for some time.
Absolutely.
I was just wondering, we have a document called Red Flags, Green Flags, which has a look at relationships. It's got a lot of red flag things. And these would be used by people going into a new relationship or whatever, or even people in the relationship who could sit down and have a look at it. There's 12 red flags and 12 green flags. Is that the sort of area? Because if you're moving into that area, it connects you even closer to the work we do trying to reduce family violence. I was just wondering whether you'd see that as a connection somewhere.
I haven't seen that, but I agree. There's some key things that come up over and over again, and I think it's repeating patterns of behaviour that is the key. When repeating patterns keep happening, they will continue to keep happening until we see what they are. So, identifying what our own red flags are is, key to healing.
Yeah.
We have to be aware, and that takes humility. And for guys, that's something, again, there's that bravado and that the sense that we've, got it all together, that we don't want to feel like a failure again. So we struggle to be humble. We struggle to say, look, I do struggle. I do have this pattern. I have this pattern of anger. And if we can't be aware of it and acknowledge it and own it, that's not to say you know how to solve it, because most of the times we don't know how to solve it, and that's where we need help. But to just say I have the problem is a courageous first step, and that's true for violence.
If you've just joined us, we're talking to Justin Dwyer. He started up a group of men called BetterMENt, and it's sort of spelled better and then MENT with a capital NT at the end. Oh, it's very clever way of writing it. And the group meets. You actually structured it more now from when you started 18 months ago. So you've got particular issues around rules and those sorts of things. Because one of the things that most people say about men is they don't open up. And so what I'm asking you is that what you're trying to do is get men to actually open up and look more deeply at themselves and say, and I know with men's behaviour change, one of the things they say to them is, what would your mother, if she was looking at you, what would she tell me about you? They have that sort of discussion.
Yeah.
So that gets deep into someone's makeup. And the rules you've got around confidentiality and those things, can you talk us through that?
Yeah, so we've got now, so we run the meetings on the first and third Wednesday of every month.
Yeah.
And it's from 7 p.m. until 8:30 p.m. with the, so that people can help get the kids to bed and all that sort of thing, and then come along to the meeting. And yeah, we have the basic rules are that it's a safe space. That the only way we can open up and talk about this stuff is to be vulnerable. So that's a safe space where there's no criticism, there's no judgment. Everybody's got stuff. So it's a safe space. There's confidentiality, so whatever happens in the group stays in the group. If there's an issue or problem, you can come and talk to myself or Charlie, the other guy who sort of facilitates.
This is Charlie Ward.
Charlie Ward, yep. And it's about having a bit of fun too at the same time and laughing. We're all a bit crazy. Like we really are all a little bit crazy, and that's okay too. We can, use humour to diffuse, some of the stronger emotions. So yeah, it's all about having a safe space that it's confidential. You're supported by other people who are going through the same stuff. And what we find and what everybody sees is that, hey, we've all got stuff. Everyone's, addicted to this or that, or, whether it's, a substance or the phone or work or all the patterns manifest basically the same pattern manifests differently in everybody, but everybody's got stuff that needs to be resolved.
Right. So we've talked to men over the years, and they talk about the bravado shield that men actually have, it's just to present that they're tough and they can deal with anything. And the other thing that we've seen in more recent times, men talk about a red mist that actually that makes them angry. When they get angry, they get into this red mist and they strike out from it. I just wondered whether you've come across any of that sort of thing from the men that are opening up. And I know a lot of it's confidential, obviously, but whether that more generally is something that's coming out of the group.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, anger's a big one, and men have a powerful energy, and when that's not realised and this happens, a lot of us have suppressed anger and rage when we were all sensitive little boys at one time and we didn't get to feel that side of ourselves. It wasn't appropriate. The old way of being brought up was, don't cry about it, don't be this, don't be that, whatever. So that rage gets suppressed.
Yeah.
And now it comes out, and it's almost like an explosion. Anger's a very quick emotion. So we talk about that in the group, and it's all about feeling it. You can say to yourself, "Oh, I can feel the anger coming," and you can. You can learn to slow down that response where you feel the anger, and there's not a problem with anger. Anger has a very good message for us. It indicates that a boundary's been crossed.
Yeah.
But when we don't know how to navigate that or how to, intelligently or, calmly investigate that boundary and then communicate it, it just explodes out. So there's no problem with anger. Anger's a human emotion that serves a purpose. It's a boundary defence. So when that red mist comes, like you say, it usually just explodes out, and it's such a quick automatic response. So we, firstly try and take the shame off it, that it's okay. I'm not saying the anger's okay, that you can do whatever you want with it, but having anger is okay. And to look below that a little bit deeper as to, how to navigate that.
So people who are listening to us now might be thinking, we'd like to get involved with this more. I mean, where can they get more info? Justin, is there a place where is there online information somewhere?
Yeah, probably we actually don't have a lot of marketing for the group. The best way to get in contact would probably be to send me an email at my email, which is info@presentwaycoaching.com.
info@presentwaycoaching.com.
That's right, yep. And there's also a website there, presentwaycoaching.com, and that's my wife and I run that company, which is all targeted at improving relationships. So if you go there, there's also the email address there, and there's some contact details and phone numbers there. That's at this stage with our marketing where it is, that's probably the easiest way to get in contact.
Yeah. Isn't it great to see these men's groups popping up? There's quite a few of them that we've been talking to in the last few days since the call was put out by the Prime Minister. There's quite a lot of different men doing different things. Do you think we should be looking at trying to bring all that together So we talk to, like the groups talk to each other to see whether they have something in common that they're doing and lean on each other a bit. Is that the way forward? And the other question I wanted to ask you is, and time's getting away from us, the other question is, where do you see this going in the next couple of years?
Yeah. Firstly, on the collaboration, I think that's great because, I mean, I personally, struggle with marketing and things like that. So if we can all leverage off each other, that's a great place to start. And I think, I was at the International Men's Day Forum recently as well, and there's all of these groups and things are popping up, and it just shows that there is the need for it, that guys do want to be involved, and, it's just a matter of each guy finding the avenue that's right for them because, we all resonate differently with different groups. I'm part of a couple of different groups, and some of them are, walking groups, some of them are talking groups. They're all different type of groups. So it's about finding something that resonates for you. So, but yeah, collaboration is, I think, a fantastic thing to do.
And 2 years from now, where do you want it to be?
Oh, look, I'd love to obviously have the group a lot bigger and this discussion to be a lot more mainstream, that guys can actually recognise that talking about feelings and owning their feelings and working through their stuff is not a weakness. It actually takes a very strong and courageous person to look inside and to really feel and see what's going on. And I know from my own journey that it takes a lot of courage to do that. So I encourage men to, if you're on the fence, jump into something and have a go. It might not be the right thing, the first thing, but just start the journey of looking and healing, because it does reap rewards.
That's good news. Great to hear. All right, thanks so much for your time today. We might see if we can get some feedback from people in different groups, but you and I will stay together talking about some ways in which we can collaborate. I'm sure there are things that we'll have in common.
Yeah, thanks very much, Charlie. It's been a pleasure.